Hello and marhaba, I'm Hania and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be continuing with video 3 of our How to Make Msemmen video series. Msemmen or Maarek as it's known here where I live in northern Algeria is a speciality of all North African countries. These layered rich crepe-like flatbreads are traditionally prepared by vigorously kneading a dough for long periods of time. But in this series of videos, I'm showing you how to prepare these flatbreads in several easier methods. If you'd like to take a look at my previous videos, which I showed 2 methods of how to prepare the dough, you can find those linked above in the info cards as well as in today's video. I'm going to show you several tips on how to fold msammen so that they are uniformly square and have several nice layers. These tips are designed for beginners but also for those who need to prepare a large quantity of msammen. Before we get into the tips, don't forget to give this video a like, and if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Find those linked above in the info cards as well as in today's video. I'm going to show you several tips on how to fold msammen so that they are uniformly square and have several nice layers. These tips are designed for beginners but also for those who need to prepare a large quantity of msammen. Before we get into the tips, don't forget to give this video a like, and if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. So now I just want to give you a few tips on how to prepare your Maarek or your mahajib quite easily. So as you can see, I have some scissors as well as this pastry box. You can get these any pastry shop, or you can just use a piece of paper. I like using these because they are thick, so you can use basically any cardboard. So the reason we need this is because it is a perfect square. As you can see, I'm going to cut this part off here, and I'm going to use this to help me shape all of my Maarek. So this is a quick tip for everybody who is a beginner or would really like to make their job of making Maarek or mahajib quite easier. So what I'm going to do is just going to cut this part off here. Tip that I'm going to show is we're going to be using the same process. We're going to be using our cardboard here, also our butter, but we're also going to be using this corn flour here. Some people like to use fine semolina, some people like to use flour, but I found that if you use flour, it gives it like a gummy, raw, floury taste. And if you use corn flour, also called maizena, also called cornstarch, depending where you're from, blends into the dough really nicely and you don't even taste it, you don't even know it's there. And the reason I'm using this and the reason I'm giving you this as a tip is because this helps the layers. So we're going to be using this so that you get nice flaky layers. Because sometimes when you make msammen, also called Maarek, the dough, when you flatten it out, it becomes one dough. So it doesn't develop the layers, you know, like puff pastry has layers, because this is a laminated dough, much like puff pastry. So we're just going to take a dough that we have here that's been resting. Here, any dough that we're not using, we're going to cover it up. One, we are just going to cover the paper as well as our surface with the butter mixture so that it is nice and coated. And then we're going to give a little bit of the butter on top of our dough here, like this. We're going to pat it out. I'm going to pat it out like that. So again, you want to make sure that you are placing your dough in the center and also your cardboard in the center. Because if not, then you'll have one part that has less dough and then other parts that will have a lot of dough hanging over. So while that's not such a big deal, it'll just make your work more difficult. And of course, the whole point of the tips that I'm sharing today is to make your work much easier. So once again, we are taking our dough and we are just sliding. Basically, that's the motion that we're using. We're sliding the dough. And because we're using a lot of butter, a lot of grease, it is just sliding. You know, like in the 80s, there was that game called Slip and Slide. Basically the same idea. turn our dough. And then we're going to do the same with this side. I'm just going to slide the dough. Hagda. Slide the dough, slide it. So obviously I'm showing everybody this in slower motion than what I would normally do it, because I want everybody to learn. Well, once you get a hang of it, you can go faster and speed everything up. You'll get small little holes like that, that's totally fine, but this way you won't have the big holes, the really huge holes, you know, the ones that we don't want. And these smaller holes you can just patch up, see? So there you go, we're just going to keep pulling and stretching our dough. You don't want to stretch it too much, because as you can see, you will have the holes. You just want to be really gentle with it. Now that we have our dough nicely stretched out like this, so we're just going to again apply our butter mixture. As I mentioned before, you can use olive oil if you like the flavor of olive oil, especially if you are making this savory. So if you're serving this with some cheese or olives or something, then you can make it with olive oil. So now I'm just going to dust the top with the corn flour, cornstarch. You don't want to do too much. Just pat it on. If you find you've added too much, just brush it off. And now we're going to repeat the same process of folding. You're going to start on one side, fold, turn it over, fix these, stretch them, and then we're going to do the next side. And then we'll turn. Turn and repeat. And then again, brush it with the butter mixture. And now simply we are just going to lift it off of our dish and flip it onto our Tadjine or tawa, or any type of skillet that you are cooking it on. And here you see that we have our Maarek, our Msemmen. It's right on our paper. So now all we have to do is just flip it right onto our Tadjine or our skillet that we've been getting hot. Press it down with your hands. And then once it's cooked slightly enough, you can easily peel it back. As you can see here, it comes off really easy. And you want to keep it moving. You don't want it to burn. You want to keep moving it around and then flip it. See that it starts to puff up, see? As you can see, our Maarek is completely done, so we can just take this and enjoy this with some tea or coffee as is, or we can just spread some honey over it, or even extra butter if you're feeling really decadent. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to support my channel, don't forget to give it a like and tell me what you think in the comments below. Also, if you're new here, make sure that you subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on a thing. And until next time, thanks for watching and peace be upon you.